Alright guys, it's Jalan with the Paradox Gaming Network, and today I want to give you the after the end of next week update. Where are we now and what's going on with Ashes of Creation? Some of this is going to be news, and then some of this is going to be explanations of some concepts, some terms, things that a lot of people have been asking me about. I just want to break it down my style. So as everybody knows, on the 28th of December, we got the news that a lot of things were going on. We knew that the account management system was kind of screwed up. We knew Battle Royale was messed up. People didn't have access, password recovery. Lots of moving pieces. The forums were missing. Sales weren't working right. Steven gave us this update. This video was done last week. Card just popped up. Check out that video if you want to be up to date if you didn't know about this stuff. I'm going to talk about two things from here. I'm going to say that web accounts, these issues may take until the end of next week to resolve. The forums will be up and running next week. So when I got that information, I kind of developed some milestones. Week ending for January. Friday, what should we have gotten on Friday? I said pretty much up front, hey, tell us about this before 4 January. Don't be telling us about it after the fact. Let us be fixed on Friday, or tell us before Friday it's not going to be fixed. The reason why I say that is if you say something, if you give an explanation before a timed event, before is a reason, after is an excuse. So what we were expecting is web accounts would be updated, embers granted, password recovery functional, forums being operational with or without the old data, and the 502 issue to be resolved. Now, in fairness, after I made this video, had a lot of discussions with people. I don't ever back off a position, but I do have to refine my position before I grade it. End of next week isn't specific. I used my own interpretation of that, and for me, when you're dealing with businesses, you know, a business relationship, I view the week ending on Friday, because that's the business week, Monday through Friday. The fact that Steven's in the Discord over the weekend is cool and all, but really you should be working on the business week. However, that's a subjective opinion. Some weeks are Sunday through Saturday, some are Monday through Sunday. So what I had to do is I had to accept the fact that we did get news on Sunday. And from this point on, I am going to assume the end of the week for Intrepid is Sunday. So I'm going to give them a Monday through Sunday window. So if Steven were to say end of next week, it'll be Sunday. Web accounts are not resolved as of today. Password recovery is not functional. Which, in fairness, let me back up a second. If the web accounts aren't completely resolved, then the password recovery not being functional kind of makes sense. We're going to talk about consecutive and concurrent events in a little bit. That's why it's indented. The top one needs to be fixed before the second one can be working, but he did mention them independently. The forums are not up and running. The 502 issues are mostly resolved. I've done 12 personal checks at this point, different devices, different IP addresses. Now, if you are still having 502 issues, I need you to Google how to resolve 502 issues. It's going to tell you a couple of steps: clearing your cache, clearing your cookies, deleting cookies, blah, blah, blah. Do all those steps. If after you do all those steps, you're still having 502 issues, report those back to Intrepid. They may need to do a little bit more tweaking. So yesterday is 6 January. We got a message from Steven. Go ahead and pause if you want to read it directly from Steven. I'm going to chop out some sentences and break them down a little bit one by one. Okay, so here we go. On December 18th, we took a snapshot of the database from the old website. This is the source of truth for all purchases, affiliates, and data. Fine. Good. When we activated the new website, errors and code issues became apparent in the process, mainly due to the large number of requests coming into the website. And I'm going to split that in half. When you activated the website, errors and code issues became apparent because you have error and code issues. The number of requests coming into the website should not necessarily be relevant. The 502 issues could certainly be due to the large number of requests. But the next sentence, this revealed some major issues in the back end of the account services architecture. Fine. Works for me great. You owned it. There's a problem. There's no excuses here. Little bit of excuse in the previous sentence, but you straight out owned it in this one. We have issues in our back end of the account services architecture. Fine. Thank you. That's all we needed to hear. We attempted to hot fix it during the playtest. This is a true statement. It also became apparent that there was some corruption in the new database. That wasn't externally apparent, but Steven has already said that, so Again, thumbs up for upfront and honest. I've brought on board a new web team to assist in the cleanup and repair. Probably the most important thing out of that whole paragraph. But it takes time. Need to make sure it's done right. And, okay. Yes, those are good things to say. You shouldn't really be saying them. You will already notice there are no longer 500 errors. He meant 502 errors. He's not a web developer. He's not a programmer. Cool. You got the series right. Not the exact error. I ain't gonna fault you on that. And many can now see the appropriate shop. Everyone can't see the appropriate shop. I can see my shop. Lots of people can. Many can't. That's okay. That's a true statement. In due time, the other issues will be fixed. Again, don't say that. Obviously, I'd prefer we have 0 issues. Again, don't say that. You should always want 0 issues. You're the CEO. Your expectation should be perfection. But the benefit of having the issues now is that we'll be better prepared for the alphas, betas, and launch in the future. Yes, absolutely. If you're going to have a cascade failure of your database, have it during early testing, not when you're trying to get to alpha testing. So that is a good thing to remind people of. I know it's hard, but we are working on it. First half, get rid of. We are working on it. Great. That's all I want to hear. And we will have updates on our live stream this Friday. Yes, thank you. SMART goal. You guys know I'm big on specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. You could not make next week. You admitted that you couldn't make next week. You told us what the problem is. You gave us a new deadline. You did not give us a new deadline for the fix. You gave us a new deadline for the updates. We are finally getting into SMART goals, and I love it because I'm a logistician. And if I'm comfortable, you guys should be comfortable. Let me break down the one thing I don't want to have to do, but I am Jay, and I got to do this to be fair. If I didn't do this, I'd have no credibility. Was this an acceptable answer? Yes. The answer in and of itself was acceptable. We should have gotten this answer Wednesday or Thursday, because then we could have asked a couple of more questions. New web team, hired when, started when. The reason why is because now I have to question, is this the web team you already hired, or is this a crisis management team that you brought in this last week? Are these contractors outsourced permanent? If you had given us the answer, the soundbite on Wednesday, could have asked a couple of more questions, could have solidified and validated this position. I could have made it a reason. But we got it at noon PST. That's the last possible day before next week is over. So I have to call this an excuse. You didn't deliver. You did not deliver in your time frame. You have justifiable reasons, but because you didn't share them, it's an excuse. But I'm going to say it's a highly acceptable one. I hate excuses, but Steven is, new to managing a company. He's done other companies that aren't as public-faced. Steven did big thing a while ago. I call it a mea culpa. He said he's bad at PR. Margaret starts today. Hopefully she can shape that image. So I'm okay with all this. I'm not gonna go crazy. My comfort level is above the bar. Why is my comfort level above the bar? New people need time to look around. I've been dropped in on, dumpster fire projects and had to look around and not really had time to breathe. And that doesn't do any good. Dropping me into the Viper's Nest on Monday and wanting a real answer by Friday, that's bullshit. That's not going to get you real results. People need a chance to see what's going on. They need to be able to get a feel for what already exists, what already existed. Then they can try to fix it. That's like if I had to be gone for 6 months and Wolfus, who's the other Paradox streamer, was going to try to come in and do Ashes 101. She couldn't sit down today and do Ashes 101 the way I do it. She'd, have to get down with the notebooks and the, the ledgers. She'd have to think about it. She'd have to watch it. She'd be like, all right, now I got a flavor for how Jay does it. For the programmers and the coders, code is its own language. They got to get in there. They got to read it. They got to see how are these guys doing this? Oh, I see what he's trying to do here. This isn't how I do this, but I see what he's trying to get to. Sometimes you got to do a root cause analysis. If you guys need an explanation of what a root cause analysis is, I can do a video on one, or I can give a quick paragraph explanation of one. You do not want somebody coming in and just shotgun troubleshooting. Shotgun troubleshooting is when you don't look at the whole picture. You see the first error and you start to fix it. The problem is maybe what you're fixing isn't what's broken. So if he brought in a new web development team, I'm okay with them having time. In fact, I want them to have more than a week. I don't want them to give a deadline of the web page will be fixed by this week. I want them to punt on beta or battle royale this week. I want them to punt by a week because I want the web development team to be done. I want them to have a fair chance at getting it fixed. I want to talk. Some people don't understand why the database can't just flip 5 switches and make the database work. That's not how databases work. Data is just raw information. If you don't prepare it right, it's not going to end up right. The example for this I'm going to give you is a salad. When you make a salad, you don't just chop cucumbers, chop carrots, chop onions, open up the bag of croutons, open up the bag of lettuce, and just pour everything in and not mix it up. Each piece is important, but it's got to be put into the salad right. Same thing with the new database. But I can't just look at this box, man. This is Bob. This is Bob, the database, and Bob is a little worried about himself right now because Bob is having to receive this old database. He's got to eat the old database first. Now, as a project manager, this is where I think Intrepid dropped the ball. They should not have tried to bring the new database online until the old database had been fully assimilated. The reason why is they said they think they have corruption in the new database. Well, they could have wiped it and done Bob 1.1 and 1.2. And if the data didn't go at that point, then they can go back to the old database and more preparation work on the old database. But unfortunately, they introduced APOC to Bob, and Bob started eating the APOC spaghetti and data from there. And you got Exola, and purchases for Embers are coming in. You got the new store, and people are making purchases at the new store. You don't even have the old store data in. Now you can't really kill Bob. And now you got to send Bob to physical therapy, and whatever his problem is, he needs to work it out. I will tell you that the old database migration worked in part. People that are like, my stuff's not there. Okay, my stuff is there. And the reason why that should make you comfortable is if my stuff is there, your stuff's there somewhere. They just got to figure out what's wrong with the data, how to line it up, how to get Bob to regurgitate it. The APOC data is there. I will tell you that everything I earned in APOC, I have in my new database. I have in my new account. Even my 50 Embers are there now. My old Embers were granted. My new Embers are there. So this is messy. It makes it so you can't do a clean slate. Hopefully, APOC would have handshake communicated, but when you introduce the new store in Exola, that makes things difficult. Hopefully that explains why the database isn't just the throw 5 switches and it works. Did the database issues affect the MMORPG? Not directly. There are things called concurrent tasks and consecutive tasks. Talk about those in a second. They can still build the game. Jeff can still be there orchestrating the game. Bacon can still be there building assets, building the world. They can still be working on the systems. You don't really need the account database operational for testing until you need to know if people are going to earn everything that get awarded everything they earned, and then is the account database going to flow down the cosmetics people have bought? But that's testing on its own. I want to give you guys an example when I'm talking about consecutive versus concurrent testing. The building a house example is the one I always use. Consecutive tasks. I must dig the foundation before I can pour the foundation. I cannot just pour concrete onto the front lawn and then come back 2 days later and dig the foundation and the concrete will just line up and pour itself into nice... No, it's not going to work that way. I must dig the foundation, frame the foundation, pour the concrete into the frame, let it sit for 4 days, take off the frame. There are steps. There are consecutive steps. But I also have concurrent things I can do. I can run the plumbing on Monday, I can run the electrical on Tuesday, I can run the gas on Wednesday. Or the plumber and the electrician can show up on Monday and the gas guy shows up on Wednesday. Or the gas guy shows up on Wednesday and the plumber and the electrician show up on Friday. Or they all can be there on Wednesday. Lots of different ways to do this. I don't need one before the other. And that's the whole password recovery. Yeah, password recovery not working kind of sucks. And yes, I think if they do go forward with Battle Royale testing on the 11th, they need to have all hands on deck. All Intrepid employees should be on the Discord in yellow. They should all be there. Everybody who's able to get into the account management system to reset passwords should be there trying to do that piece. People being locked out of their account when everybody else gets to test, that will be a black eye in public relations land. Survey data. For those of you that know me, you know that, educator, historian, I like academic stuff. I do my videos in PowerPoint. I wanted to get a pulse on some feelings in the community. I have a poll ongoing. I've listed it in the comments below. I am going to put out a disclaimer. I forgot SurveyMonkey only gives you access to your first 100 responses. For years and years, I had a SurveyMonkey account. I don't have one right now. So this is based on 100 respondents. If this poll gets up to 500-ish respondents, I will pay for the data. So share that link with people you know. If I get, like I said, get up to about 500. I'd love to get about 1,000 or 1,500 if possible. That would be some real data. But what I would say is the big one that I wanted to point out is, will Ashes launch before 2020? 80% of respondents think no. And that's understandable. If you keep fumbling, stumbling, and bumbling with everything you try to do, not really inspiring confidence. I personally believe that they will hit 20 before 2020 because Steven seems pretty set on that. But if we don't start, putting some points on the board here soon, I think by about April, I'll be ready to give my final thumbs up, thumbs down. Have you lost faith in Intrepid's ability to deliver on deadlines? Over 50% of people say yes, and that is usually the natural repercussion when you don't meet any. When you keep missing deadlines, people stop taking you seriously. So I would really like to see them move that Friday Battle Royale testing off of Friday today or tomorrow. I don't want to see another disappointment in the community where people get all hyped and then the hype train has to throw the brakes. Like I said, I would like more data for this, so share the poll that's in the description below. And that's it, guys. Not a lot there. I wanted to make you guys aware of things that happened. Little explanation for things that people might not understand. If you want to talk more, you can email me. Get me on Discord if you have Discord. It is easier. We can have a better real-time conversation. Swing by my Discord. The link is in the description below. Streaming-wise, I stream 3 times a week now. I am going for Twitch Partner in 2019. 0900 Eastern on Mondays. Really great show today. It was my first Monday show. Really powerful show. I do Wednesdays at 2000 Eastern and Fridays 1300 Eastern. As always, thank you to my wonderful sponsors. I do have a giveaway going on. That is in the description below. It's for the first quarter, trying to come out of the gate strong. Missed last year's goals by just a little bit, so I want to make sure to come out strong this year. All right, guys, you take care. I want to get this into post-production. I want to get it out today. So you all take care, and I will see you later. Hey, where are you going? You're not done yet. See these videos? There's videos up here to watch. You got to go over here. Hit the chibi. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the webpage. And I'll see you guys on Twitch.